Hi, and welcome to Good Shepherd's Vacation Bible School Week 3. This week, we're talking about the third baptismal promise, which is that we hear the good news of God in Jesus and share that good news in word and deed. This means sharing the good news about Jesus through what we say and what we do. What's the best news ever? The best news you could ever imagine hearing? Would it be that your family had gotten you a puppy? Or maybe a pony? Or would the best news ever be that you could choose anything you wanted from the toy section at Walmart? Or from the electronics section at Walmart? When I was a kid, the best news I looked forward to was hearing that my older brother was coming home from college. Or maybe the best news ever would be that you were going to the beach with your family the next day. Or that it was a snow day. Jesus' friends were really scared. When he told them that he was going to have to leave them, they didn't understand what he meant. They thought that maybe he was going on a trip without them. But what he was trying to tell them was that he was going to die. He was going to be killed on a cross. And after 3 days, God would raise him back to life, and he would never die again. At first, the disciples felt as sad as anyone has ever been when Jesus died. He had made his friends, his disciples, feel so loved. He had made them feel important because he invited them to help him feed hungry people and make sick people well again. They even got to be there when Jesus raised their friend Lazarus from the dead. They just knew that Jesus was going to change the world forever, that he was God come to live among people, and that he would be there forever. So when he died on the cross and was laid in his grave in the tomb, his friends were as sad as anyone has ever been. But then, early in the morning on the third day after he died, the disciples got the best news ever, that Jesus was alive. And Jesus told them that because he was alive, that they would live forever too, that they would all be together one day in heaven, and that would be forever, eternal life. Do you know someone who needs help? Help them out today. That's what it means to share the good news by what we do as well as what we say. Thanks so much for sharing the good news. And now I'm going to turn things over to Miss Robin with a craft that will also help us share the good news. Bye. Go ahead.
Hi everyone. I'm going to take my mask off so you can hear me. Hi everyone. I just hope you all are having a great summer, staying cool in this very hot weather. Pastor's helping me out videotaping. I've got some instructions on your next 3 weeks of class, today's and the next 2. They are a little more complex than the foamy projects you've had the last 2 weeks. We're going to add something to the packet for this week. You'll find the packet that has all these colorful foam pieces. They all have sayings. The first one that we're going to start with is building upon the rock of Jesus, and that ties into telling about the good news of this week's Sunday vacation Bible school lesson. I have you and your parents read these together and then maybe decide what order you want to put them in. But I'd start with this one at the top. You'll find a long piece of string that I added. In a packet, you'll have a shorter piece of string that I don't think's gonna accommodate tying on this piece. So I put in your envelope a long green string, and I hope you still have that. Then you'll find the adhesive pieces. When you look at the directions, you'll see that there are these white squares on the back of each of these sayings. So you're going to be putting the string across, and you've got to be careful when you lay these out so you don't have some upside down and right side up. So you're going to end up, peel off the paper. I'm going to conserve this. We'll get into that, and we'll do this, and that'll adhere to the string and to the foam, so it'll keep it on your hanger piece. So I'm going to work with my piece. I got creative because we ended up 1 pack short. I Xeroxed paper so I could do my demonstration for you. The other things we're going to use this week are markers and glue, maybe a couple of tools. The thing about these markers, and I want you to know before you get started with this project, wear old clothes, because these will stain your clothes. They are permanent, they aren't washing out. The glue, you need to wash off wet glue before it dries, because once it dries, it won't come out. You need a small hammer for next week. We're gonna start planning ahead because there are some things that didn't come in the packet. This one will be too big for the wee little nail that we'll be using for next week's project. That's teeny tiny. So try to find a tack hammer, something that you might use to have around the house to put up pictures in the wall. And if you don't have a tack hammer, you might find another tool in the house that you could use to hammer. This one is what I call an awl. I'm going to use it next week, and I might use it today. It depends. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a bit. This one also has a metal piece, and I've used that metal piece to tap a hammer in. Because this is sharp, I saved an old cork to put that on the end so that doesn't cut. We may use glue. This could help have these stick together if these pieces don't work for you. We will definitely use the glue for the next week and the week after. But with the new glue, the end needs cutting off. So you're gonna have to get your parents to get a sharp tool like this box cutter or a sharp knife at home. And I want them to cut at an angle, not so much straight across, because we're gonna use this project, we're gonna be building a little bird feeder next week. And I want a little bit of an angle so you can spread a tiny, what we call a bead of glue in all the little cracks around the bird feeder to help seal it, make it a little more waterproof. That way, the angle will help you smear it out and you don't have to use your finger to smear it out and get all sticky. If you have already cut the glue to use, then just take your finger and get a wet paper towel to wipe off glue in between when you're swiping so you don't have glue everywhere. Okay, now we got the cutting done, angle tip. Okay, you might use, if you have it, light colored pencils for week 5's project. They'll help you mark some things that might not show up on light wood. If not, you can use your fine tip marker. There's 2 tips to these markers if you haven't checked that out. There's a broad one to help color in fast, and then there's this pointed one to make a finer mark. You can use that for some of the markings I'll show you later. You can use that to write your name for today on this project. You might want to start on this now. The first thing I want you to do is take your wood. I'm going to use my pretend wood. Write your name on it. And then you can color that in as you choose. I'm going to color the bottom and make it the color of the screwdriver. It keeps it. And then I'm going to get a different color, and I'm going to color the handle. It doesn't have to be fancy. You can take your time and make it as fancy as you like. You can color the back if you want. That way, if the air blows it around, you've got color going on both sides. Now, that's ready to go. We'll tie it at the end. Oop, I'll get my piece. We're gonna run a little piece of string, and you pull the edges. I have sealed the edges on those with nylon. You seal that by using a little heat. You take the end and just get your parents to touch it to the flame just for a few seconds, and the ends will melt together because nylon's a form of plastic. So we've got it knotted. Now, we're going to tie a loop at the top so we can hang this. And I just looped it around. Real simple knot. I've got my Jesus. And I'm going to put this on the back. You saw that I peeled the paper off. That might be another way to hold loose ends, is to have that stick on that piece of paper. And I'm going to put Jesus is the rock for starters. Now these will have to be popped out. You're going to have to pull the edge back and get the corner and carefully pull this apart. You can see how you pull it. I'm not going to do that because I want to save that. But there are 2 pieces that you have to pull out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut the ones I made. And I'm going to put on, and remember, I am with you always to the end of the age. That's a very comforting thing that God's telling all his people. And again, we'll put this, I'll put it like right here, so I have enough room, and I'll put that one there. You could put yours in the middle if you want to lay out all your things on your string before. What I've got here is, but as for you, continue in what you have learned and firmly believe. You know those who taught you. We taught about, early in Vacation Bible School, Pastor talked about the people who taught you and brought you to church. We know that Our family usually brings us in for baptism when we're little babies, for a lot of us. We know that there are a lot of teachers in Sunday school. Pastor teaches us every week. The lay lectors read the Bible to us. Our families read the Bible to us. The next one I've chosen is no one has greater love than this, than to lay down his life for his friends. In other words, we do things for others. Right now, it's uncomfortable to wear masks, so we're wearing our masks for others in this time when there's a lot of virus going around. We want everybody to stay safe. So we do that because we care about other people. Now, this one I put a little lower because I don't want that to show, and if I put it too high, it would show above the point. Now, even this string wasn't long enough, so you might want to change your loops and make your loops smaller to hang over a hook. The green one, but God proves his own love for us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. He did that to save us from our sinful behavior. It was such a precious gift. And that's something we think about in communion. You know, we go up every Sunday to the communion rail when we worship at church. We even can do that at home a little bit. If we have bread and grape juice or wine, we can do that when Pastor says the words of institution. Okay, and the last one, notice, as the Father has loved me, I have also loved you. Remain in my love. We share that wonderful thought that Jesus loves us and that we can always call on him and know that we are loved. You know, I'm always saying, Shalom, beloved children of God. I want you to remember that you are God's beloved child, and he always loves you. And he sent Jesus to show us that love. So this week's project is finished. And you can hang that, you can share that, you can talk about those messages. Sharing that message is something that Mary did in today's Vacation Bible School talk. So we know. Have a good week.